You may not be inspired or even like everything I'm about to say, but I speak the truth, and perhaps you won't like that either. You've graduated high school. Now what? Well, in real life, you don't get 4 minutes to get from where you are to where you're supposed to be, and there's not always a bell to let you know that you made it on time or you're late. Sometimes you'll be expected to be someplace before you even leave. You'll be expected to accomplish and produce, oftentimes unreasonably. Fairness is not assured. In fact, unfairness is all but assured. Life isn't always fair. In fact, it can be downright cruel. Now you will enter a world where respect must be earned, not taken for granted or assumed as a right. You will be disrespected. Despite what society, the government, or the internet may tell you to the contrary, you are entitled to nothing. Unless you just happen to be of good fortune, if you do nothing, you'll get nothing. Sometimes you get nothing even after considerable effort. Life has challenges, and there will be failures. Not everyone comes in first, not everyone gets a trophy, and not everyone passes. There's no bell curve in life. And while there might be second chances akin to makeups and remedial opportunities, don't assume their reliability or their fairness. Don't be a bully and don't allow yourself to be bullied. Don't be unfair to others, but expect unfairness. Face unfairness. Don't let it conquer you, but rather challenge and conquer it wherever you can. Life is not easy. There will be disappointments and frustration, but others in more difficult times, from humble if not desperate beginnings, have accomplished. If you think it's too tough, if you think you're too far behind, that there's no opportunity, look to history and think of these 6 who came before you. Number 1, Moses was born at a time when his people were an enslaved minority. They were increasing in numbers, and the Egyptian Pharaoh was worried that they would ally with Egypt's enemies. The Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew babies to be killed in order to reduce the population of the Israelites. Pharaoh had commanded that all newborn male Hebrew children be drowned in the River Nile. These were cruel times. Moses' mother placed him in a floating tight basket and concealed him in the cattails by the riverbank, where the baby was discovered by Pharaoh's daughter, who took pity upon the baby and kept him, raising the child as an adopted son of the royal family. Because Pharaoh's daughter was royalty, she had slaves, Hebrew slaves, at her disposal. One of them was tasked with being a wet nurse, or nursing woman, to breastfeed the baby. Just so happens the wet nurse that was assigned was Moses' biological mother. So you would think that Moses lived happily ever after in royal luxury. Well, you would be wrong. One day Moses had reached adulthood. He killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew. Moses, in order to escape Pharaoh's death penalty, fled for his life into the desert. There, God commanded him to return to Egypt and bring his people out of bondage. He returned, but Pharaoh refused to release the enslaved Hebrews. Then 10 plagues were visited upon Egypt. Eventually, Pharaoh relented and let the Israelites go, but Pharaoh had a devious plot. He would let them go and then send his army to pursue them and kill them. Moses got his people to the Red Sea, and they saw Pharaoh's army fast approaching. They had no place to go. They could be drowned or be slaughtered. God parted the Red Sea. They made it across, and when Pharaoh's army pursued them, the parted Red Sea closed and drowned Pharaoh's army, all of them. From Egypt, Moses led the Israelites to Mount Sinai, where he was given the 10 Commandments, which to this very day are used in Judaism, Christianity, Roman Catholicism, the Eastern Orthodox Church. They're used by Protestants, Lutherans, Latter-day Saints, Islam, and other religions. Not bad for an infant doomed to death and left in a basket. Then there's the 15th of 17 children born to a father who was a candle maker. When he was 17 years old, he went out on his own and wound up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was an inventor, creating the lightning rod, the glass harmonica, the metal-lined fireplace. He invented bifocal glasses and the flexible urinary catheter. He served his country, state, and city as a councilman, a postmaster, a recruiter of the Pennsylvania militia, speaker of the Pennsylvania State House, delegate to the Second Continental Congress, ambassador to France, president of Pennsylvania, and a founding father. Benjamin Franklin's accomplishments are too numerous to list. Number 3 was famously born in a one-room cabin to an uneducated farmer, mother and father. Almost entirely self-educated, he received only 18 months of formal schooling, but he offset this disadvantage by ferociously consuming any book he could get his hands on. At age 22, he packed his belongings, not many, into a canoe and paddled out on his own. He taught himself the law and became a successful attorney and state legislator. He lost his senatorial campaign in 1858 to Stephen Douglas, but he persevered and went on to defeat Stephen Douglas to become the President of the United States. The rest, of course, is history. He lacked connections, charisma, good looks, or even a formal education. But Abraham Lincoln became one of the greatest presidents in our history and had the courage of leadership that made everlasting improvements. Number 4 is a real rags to riches story, because there's no rags worse than that of an American slave. He rose from the shackles of slavery to extraordinary success using monumental hard work, tenacity, and passion. Frederick Douglass had all of these qualities. Douglass understood that nothing in life would ever be handed to him. When his master's wife had been teaching him the alphabet, she was reprimanded for doing so. Douglass learned to read by grabbing anything he could and trying to learn about it. In 1838, Douglass, risking his life, escaped from slavery to Massachusetts, became an outspoken abolitionist, a spectacular orator, unlike myself, a best-selling author, a newspaper publisher, and after the Civil War, Douglass served as the president of Freedmen's Bank, Marshal of the District of Columbia, Minister Resident and Consul General to the Republic of Haiti, and Charge d'Affaires for the Dominican Republic. 5, there was an unassuming farm boy from Oklahoma. He later moved to Missouri, where he became Missouri's youngest ever Eagle Scout. After the war, he opened up his own store called Walton's Five and Dime in Bentonville, Arkansas. In 1962, Sam Walton introduced the first Walmart in Rogers, Arkansas. He was America's richest man from 1985 to 88. And if he were alive today, he would be the world's richest man with wealth double that of Bill Gates. And lastly is my favorite. Ladies, pay attention, because her father owned 2 grocery shops. She and her older sister were raised in a flat above the larger of the 2. It was near a railway line, which is typically not the priciest real estate in town. Her father was active in local politics and was a Methodist church alderman and local preacher. She was brought up in a strict Wesleyan Methodist home. Her father was mayor from 1945 to 1946, but lost his position in 1952. She attended Huntington Road Primary School and won a scholarship to a girls' school. Her school report showed hard work and continual improvement. Her extracurricular activities included piano, field hockey, poetry recitals, swimming, and walking. In her upper 6th year, she applied for a college scholarship to study chemistry, but was rejected and was only offered a place after another candidate withdrew. She entered Oxford in 1943, graduated in 47 with a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, specializing in X-ray crystallography. But even when working on chemistry, she was thinking of politics. She applied for a job in Imperial Chemical Industries and was rejected because they said she was headstrong, obstinate, and dangerously self-opinionated. Later, Margaret Roberts was selected by the local party, not because she was a great speaker, because she was well-prepared and fearless. What happened was she ran for office twice and lost twice. She supported herself by working for J. Lyons and Company, developing emulsifiers for ice cream. She sought candidacy again in 1954 and was defeated again. Finally, in 1958, she won by a very narrow victory. Margaret Robert Thatcher was reportedly more proud of becoming the first prime minister with a science degree than she was of being the first female prime minister of England. Life is not easy or fair. There will be disappointments. There will be frustration. But others in more difficult times have accomplished. If you think it's too tough, if you think you're too far behind, if you think there's no opportunity, look to history and think of these 6 who came before you. Congratulations to you all. Get out there, put your face to the wind, and take on life's challenges. God bless you all. God bless Barnegat, and God bless the United States of America.